There are two huge reasons why I believe there is nothing to fear when it comes to death. Reason number one is going to appeal to a more scientific-based analytical person. And reason number two is going to appeal to the more spiritual person. But they're both great reasons and they both make me not fear death. Number one, and I saw this so significantly when becoming a hospice nurse. I didn't totally see it when I was an ICU nurse, but then after like the first year becoming a hospice nurse, to truly see how the body biologically helps us at the end of life was mind-blowing to me and totally made me not fear death, because biologically, our body is built to live, built to survive birth, and built to help us die. And I saw that firsthand, and I still see that firsthand as a hospice nurse. So let me explain. I've said this before in other videos, but I'm just gonna keep reiterating it so everyone can hear it over and over again. Our bodies are biologically built to die. When the body knows that it's getting towards the end of life, especially on hospice when you're dying a natural death, you're dying from something, but you're allowing the natural progression to happen. Mechanisms kick in that are built into the body to help us die. Example one, our calcium levels go up. When your calcium levels go up, you start sleeping more. So your body just sleeps and sleeps and sleeps and sleeps, which is nice. People always say, I want to just fall asleep and die. That is kind of what can gradually happen. Also, your body knows that it's shutting down, it's getting near the end. So it'll slowly start kicking in the mechanisms to shut off the feeling of hunger and the feeling of thirst. And you will start not eating and drinking more and more. So this gradual thing happens where you are sleeping a lot more, eating and drinking a lot less, sleeping a lot more, eating and drinking a lot less. And the body is doing that all for us. And when that starts happening, your body will eventually kick into ketosis, which releases endorphins, which makes you feel good and dulls pain. So the body does this all naturally without us doing anything as medical professionals. And to watch that as a medical professional firsthand, see it over and over again, it is fascinating and it is comforting. Reason number two, again, like I said, is going to appeal more to people who have faith or a faith in the afterlife, spirituality, religion. It'll appeal more to that group, but it's still a fascinating story and I love it. And it's one of the huge reasons why I don't fear death, hence why I talk about it all the time. I used to be so afraid to tell these stories because they sound so crazy, but then people will ask me why I don't fear death. And this is a really big reason why. So like I've said before in a million other of my videos, there are some medical phenomena that happen at the end of life that we can't explain that do also comfort me, like the visioning, death stare, the death reach, all of those things that I've witnessed are also comforting. But the big reason is something that I experienced with a patient. That's one of my favorite stories, and it's the main reason why I don't fear death. So here's that story. I had a patient come on to hospice. He was young. We got close, not just me and him, but him and the whole hospice team. We really helped him. He ended up living a lot longer on hospice. He didn't have tons of friends and family, so we were like his friends and family, the whole team. And we really helped him with a lot of struggles with mental health and physical health, obviously, because he was on hospice. So we all got really close to him. Him and I would have tons of existential conversations just because we both liked talking about it, about what happened at the end of life. Was he scared? What did he think happened? All the things. By the end of his life, when he was actively dying, I had a continuous care nurse in his home that was with him 24 hours a day. So I, as the case manager, would come in very quickly every day just to check in with the continuous care nurse and see how he was doing. On his last day alive, I could tell he would die that day because he was actively dying. And once you're a nurse for a while, you can kind of pick up on those things. He had all the things. He was unconscious, changes in breathing. He had the death rattle. He looked very comfortable. And I told the continuous care nurse to text me when he died because I figured it would be that day. Before I left, I kind of sat by his bed quietly and just sort of said my goodbyes to him in my head quickly. And then I left. I wasn't sad. I was happy for him. I knew we had done a good job. I knew he was comfortable and I knew he'd be okay. When I was in my car charting outside of his house and like getting ready to move on to the next patient, before I moved on, I kind of sat quietly again and like thought about him and how I'd miss him, and just he was just such a wonderful guy that I was just thinking of him. When suddenly, and this is the crazy part, Suddenly, I heard his voice in my head. And it was kind of like I was transformed to like another place, just where time stood still and I could like feel all of these amazing feelings that I feel like he was giving me. And he was in my head saying my name. And I'm smiling now because that's the feeling I got when he said my name. He was like, oh my gosh, Julie, oh my gosh, if I only would have known. If I only would have known, he kept saying. And he was kind of like telepathically telling me things without even saying words. And the feelings that I was getting was basically, if I only would have known how amazing this was, I would have never been scared. I would have never been scared. And I was so overwhelmed by what he was making me feel, which was like love and peace and like energy and excitement. And it was almost like I was soaring. Like it was almost like he was taking me with him and he was making me see and feel how amazing he felt. And there was so much freedom and what he was making me feel, which meant so much to me personally because I knew that in his everyday life here on earth, he did not have freedom. He did not feel free. He felt constricted and tons of anxiety and worry. And to see and know and feel that he was not feeling that way anymore. And he was so excited. And all he kept saying was, oh my gosh, Julie, oh my gosh, Julie, I can't, like, if I only would have known, if I only would have known, with a smile on his face and like flying is the only way I could describe it. It's really hard for me to put into words for you right now because it was like a moment in time where he was just making me feel all of these amazing things. And I was so overcome in the moment that I was like weeping, sobbing in my car, tears of joy for the feelings that I was feeling that he was making me feel. As quickly as it started, it ended. He showed me this beautiful, amazing thing, and then it stopped. And I was kind of in my car like, whoa, what was that? And still crying and still trying to be like, what the heck just happened? When my phone went off, and it was the nurse inside, she had just texted me and it said, so-and-so just died. And I thought, I know, because he just showed me that he was dying, that this is what it was like to die. I did not say that to her because I did not have anything formulated in my brain at that time. I was still very confused about what just happened and embarrassed. Like, did that really just happen? What's going on? I just said, thank you. And I ended up having to go about the rest of my day as a nurse. Any nurses out there know that all this crazy stuff can happen to you, then you still have to go about your day. And I didn't tell anybody about that for years because I was scared. I didn't think people would believe me. I didn't even know what it was myself. I have since learned that it's called a shared death experience. And this is when someone basically shows you what it's like to die. And it was one of the most peaceful, joyful, freedom-filled experiences I have ever had, and I will never forget it. And that is one of the main reasons why I do not fear death. So there you have it, the two big reasons why I don't fear death. Again, there are more, and both of those help me equally, and I hope they help you too.